pressure is a one thing of why teenagers engages premarital sex. With the environment an individual is offered premarital sex is just common. An individual could experience peer pressure that could alter his or her mind. For example, in a group of friends, there is a single member who doesn't have experience of this earthly pleasure or has what we call as a virgin. And all of his or her friends have experienced the deed already. While one of their conversations, they come to a topic about sex, and all of them expect for that single has shared all of their experiences on how good and satisfying sex could be. So what would that single person who has not experienced sex would feel? Or what would he or she be thinking on and after their conversations? Probably jealous or whatsoever. That could trigger him or her to undergo or to take action in order for him or her to experience what his or her friends when it comes to sex. So by this, I could say peer pressure is a one of the key of why teenagers engages in premarital sex.
Yes, but peer pressure usually depends on the teenagers of peer group hangouts, with some teens run with a popular crowd. They may worry that not going along with their friends will make them outcast or at least less popular. That's the number one reason for early engaging sex.
Peer pressure thus contributes a lot for the teenagers to engage in sex because friends are the most influential people in our lives. Some friends will suggest that having sex in an early age is normal, where in fact it's not and it's a risky behavior. According to the book of Dr. Neil I. Bernstein entitled How to Keep Your Teenager Out of Trouble and What to Do If You Can't, that no influence in your teenager's life is as powerful as peer pressure, and it can impair good judgment and fuel risk-taking behavior, drawing a child away from the family and positive influences and luring him into dangerous activities.
Peer pressure contributes in early engaging to sex for teenagers. Yes, it does. Because according to the Raising Children Network, peer pressure influences when you do something you wouldn't otherwise do because you want to feel accepted and valued by your friends. Due to the feeling of being left behind and being the outcast in the group because of not having the sex yet, the person might have the urge to engage in it.
Peer pressure is always tough to deal with, especially when it comes to sex. Sex teenagers decide to have sexual relationships because their friends think sex is cool. Others feel pressured by the person they are dating. Still, others find it easier to give in and have sex than to try to explain why not. Some teenagers get caught up in the romantic feelings and believe having sex is the best way they can prove their love. According to Moore and Rosenthal theory, the common belief is that during the time of adolescence, an important shift of influence occurs and peers begin to become increasingly more influential than parents.
Parental support would be a great help in preventing teens in engaging risky sexual activity. Because with proper guidance and knowledge from parents of what is sex and what are outcomes in engaging to sex, a person will have ideas that will make him think before doing those so. Family talk during mealtime, asking children, especially those who are in their high school, to give guidance and educate their child of how risky sex is. From this, we can prevent teens in engaging risky sexual activity.
That's the most helpful things nowadays, because we all know that some of teenagers nowadays enjoying having sexual activity. Sexual activity is important to educate and support teenagers to let them know what is wrong and how difficult early sexual activity.
Parental support definitely prevents teenagers from starting risky sexual activity because they are the one who are responsible to discipline and give us advices in making decisions and doing actions. According to the article entitled Parental Involvement Can Reduce the Risk of Teen Pregnancy, that an important thing for parents to remember is role modeling, and a parent's behavior should match their words. The do as I say, not as I do approach will have a great impact on teenagers who are constantly and observes the adults in their lives.
Parental support prevent teens from starting risky sexual activity, yes. Because according to the International Journal, parents can play a significant role in preventing teenage pregnancy by guiding teenagers to make healthy, responsible, and value-based decisions about sex.
Parents traditionally have a primary influence on adolescents' sexual behavior and serve as a protective factor for their children's sexual behavior. Supportive and repetitive parent-adolescent conversations about sexuality lead to a reduction in frequency on sexual intercourse and number of sex partner among those adolescents. High parental monitoring reduced the likelihood of risky sexual practices among young people. For example, adolescents perceiving less parental monitoring were more likely to not using condom and having multiple and risky sex partners.
So the use of contraceptives in during sex is a must in order to prevent unwanted pregnancy. As for the question, is it advisable for teens to use contraceptives? I would say I totally agree. We live in an era where premarital sex and teenage pregnancy is rampant. According to research, over a third of Filipinos aged 15 to 24 is engaging into premarital sex. Majority of them are not using any protection according to the data of the PSA. With this, what would be the result? This would be the result of unwanted pregnancy and early child pregnancy, in which one of the problems of our countries. How can we stop it? The first thing to prevent is to educate teens as early 14 years old of what is contraceptives and what is its purpose. Give knowledge of what is the risk of premarital sex. Give them ideas of what sex and what are its advantages of doing the deed at the early age. We must guide them, for sex is a part of life and we can't do anything about it. The only thing we could is to educate the teens nowadays for them to be responsible enough in their own doings.
For me, it is important to use protection for teenagers who are not yet at the right age to do premarital sex to avoid early pregnancy.
Sex education promotes the use of contraceptives in engaging premarital sex. Sexual education was implemented to control the overpopulation and to prevent STD's transmittal here in our country. According to the article entitled The Health Benefits of Services Provided at Family Planning Centers, that contraception reduces pregnancy-related morbidity and mortality, reduces the risk of developing certain reproductive cancers, and can be used to treat many menstrual-related symptoms and disorders.
Is it very advisable for teenagers to use contraceptives who engage in premarital sex? Why? Because according to Dove Press, the use of contraceptives is essential in preventing unwanted pregnancies, unsafe abortions, and abortion-related complications that expose adolescents to health-related risks such as infertility and sometimes death.
Another form of teenage pregnancy prevention that is being taught in school is various contraceptive techniques. Although abstinence remains the best way to prevent pregnancy among teens, it is a fact that there are still a large number of them who will be involved in sexual relations. For this reason, it is important that teens be provided with broad information on how to do so responsibly using various contraceptive techniques.